some of the Our objective
All right. Good morning, wherever you're watching from there. This is Humanist TV Africa, where we shall be bringing to you today's headlines, today's newspaper headlines of what is happening around the world and in Nigeria, where I am reporting from. All right. This remains your only brother, Obasi Ikechukwu. So I shall be bringing this morning's hot headlines to you. All right, on the first headline, court finds, all right, let's go to the headlines today. On the first headline, court finds Nigerian police. All right, court finds Nigerian police 200 million over illegal detention of woman who sued Inspector General. Orders return of 15 million extorted from her. This is coming from Salah Reporters. Court fines Nigerian police 2 million naira over illegal detention of woman who sued Inspector General. I wonder if suing Inspector General is now a crime. I wonder if exercising your right of access to the court as enshrined in Section 36 of the 1999 Constitution is now a crime. It is funny enough that we are living in a gulag called a country. So over to the next news. Nigerian Labour Congress and trade union declares nationwide strike over assault on President Ajero. This is coming from Salah Reporters. Nigeria Labour Congress and trade union declare nationwide strike in solidarity to their embattled, in solidarity to their assaulted president. Yes, that is the news on the second headline. All right, let's go to the third. On the headline, Senate considers bill allowing Nigerians living in diaspora to vote during general election. Wow, that is a good one. Senate considers bills allowing Nigerians living in diaspora to vote during general elections. All right, over to the next news. Nigerian secret police used Saturday's governorship election as flimsy excuse to prevent visitors from seeing Nnamdi Kanu. This is an allegation by IPOB, the Indigenous People of Biafra. The Indigenous People of Biafra is a team agitating for the independence of the Biafran people. Biafran people are majorly of Igbo tribe and the coastal region of Nigeria. So they have come to raise alarm, stating that the Nigerian Secret Police, called DSS, Directorate of States, or its formal name, its legal name, State Security Service, used Sunday's governorship election as flimsy excuse to prevent visitors from seeing Nnamdi Kanu. Like I said in our last show, there was a Guba governorship election all across 3 states in Nigeria. So that is why they came up with this allegation that the secret police is using that as an excuse to stop people from visiting the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. Over to the next news. Okay, this is coming from telecoms. All right, telecoms. Telecoms giant MTN to exit Liberia two other African countries over dwindling revenue. Yes, this report says that MTN, which is a telecom giant, plans to exit Liberia, two other African countries over dwindling revenue. Over to the next news. Three persons shot in the head. All right, three persons shot dead in the head, confirmed death in Ogun court clash. Police arrest three suspects. This is serious. I don't know why our people, our youth, will not leave courtesim alone instead of embracing fruitful endeavors, instead of engaging in nice endeavors, instead of engaging in developmental endeavors, entrepreneurship. They embrace courtesim. I wonder why everything has to be happening in Africa. If religion is not a problem, tribe becomes a problem. If tribe is not a problem, gender discrimination becomes a problem. If gender discrimination is not a problem, another problem becomes courtesim. When shall Africa wake up and begin to act? What happens to our virtue as the African people? Oh yes, that is for that. All right, we shall come back to the news. Let's go to the next news. Driver fleeing from Lagos State Traffic Management Agency LASMA killed two street cleaners. This is coming from Sahara Reporters, where it is reported that driver fleeing LASMA, that is Lagos State Traffic Management Agency LASMA, kills two street cleaners. All right. Let's go for the next news. Nigerian woman stabbed to death while breaking a fight at a church crusade. Wow, this is so funny. How Africans are mentally lowering themselves mentally to the estimation of critical thinkers. Not even that you are, spending the time you would have used for fruitful business in, armchair speculations. Not only that, they went there to fight, and in order to separate fights, a person that should have been in his or her house resting is now stabbed to death for separating fight. Funny enough. All right, over to the next news. EU, that is European Union, says around 100 civilians reportedly killed in Burkina Faso village massacre. This is coming from CNN World. That EU says around 100 civilians reportedly killed in Burkina Faso village massacre. This is coming from CNN. But I wonder why the local media, the national media, is not carrying this news. Why is this CNN? This is to report the fact that some of our national televisions or national media platforms are either problematic, either bought over. There is press censorship in our various African countries. It could be the reason why they are not carrying this news on their national televisions. Let's go over to the next news. White House reviews 3 years old American among Hamas hostages. This is coming from CNN, where it is reported that White House reviews 3 years old American among Hamas hostages. This is pathetic. That is what I've been talking about. How can you be targeting little children? Hamas and Israel? Yes, the report warned Israel, cautioned Israel to stop killing of women and babies. And this morning we are getting reports that Hamas has, made a 3-year-old American as one of its adoptees, as one of its hostages. I don't understand what is mentally wrong with our people. I don't understand what is mentally wrong with humanity. I don't know why our conscience have been truncated, that we no longer think. We no longer think clearly. We no longer understand the importance of, love for humanity. I don't understand what humanity is turning into. I don't understand why humans cannot embrace humanism, cannot be humanistic in thinking. Where is our conscience? How can you adopt a 3-year-old child, a 3-year-old American child, and you are still happy? Who are you fooling? Why can't you conflict without involving babies, without committing war crimes? I wonder what the problem is. What is literally wrong with our conscience? What is wrong with our mentality? Are we actually mad? When last do we even visit psychiatrists? Yeah, sometimes we need to have a checkup, a mental checkup. We have, our mental health is also something to take care of, in order for you not to continue with this barbarism, this barbaric acts. How can you? What will you gain? What will you gain for holding hostage a 3-year-old American child? This is so barbaric. This is so unfair. So the ICC should for the first time uphold fairness, should for the first time be proactive. You have left much to be desired since your establishment. You have left much to be desired. I am calling upon you to, first of all, for the first time, ensure that there is peace in the world by tackling these war crimes, this crime against humanity. How can you put a 3-year-old American child hostage? Whether even your child, you should not hold hostage for 3 years, not to talk of in the name of war. How can you do that? Don't you have conscience? Don't you have conscience, Hamas? All right, over to the next news. Nigerian first female army general Aderonke Kale, retired, dies. Chief of Army Staff mourns. This is the first female Nigerian Major General. She dies. Her name is Major General Aderonke Kale, retired. So she dies, and on behalf of the Nigerian Army, the Chief of Staff mourns. All right, over to the next news. Trump's 86-year-old sister found dead. This is coming from Daily Trust. Donald Trump's the former president of United States of America. Yes, report has it that his 86-year-old sister has been found dead. That is from Daily Trust, Nigeria. All right, over to the next news. Over to the last news on our headline. Iceland is bracing for a volcanic eruption after experiencing hundreds of earthquakes. I repeat, Iceland is bracing for a volcanic eruption after experiencing hundreds of earthquakes, BBC News reports. Well, I actually understand that there will be a religious and superstitious undertone to this natural disaster. It was funny that last time it was reported that Brazil experienced a flood, and some religious fanatics, some religious lunatics came and said that it is connected to fear of their purported gods. But it is pathetic that people no longer have conscience. Instead of sympathizing over the plight of a fellow human, you use superstition as a means to justify your lunacy, as a means to justify your heartless tendencies. Oh yes, how can people possibly? Yes, very soon, especially in Africa, I will start getting some, scrupulous, some unscrupulous talks, comments on these current issues, on the current issues of series of earthquake, which makes them to be prisoner for a volcanic eruption. Very soon, some Africans. In fact, because of this, let me put my glasses so that I can see your gullibility and low mentality well. Yes, sometimes our people, yeah, I have to, because sometimes I need to put on my eyeglass to be able to see the level of mental degradation, the level of mental retardation in African continent, especially in Africa. You don't get other countries of the world, mock other people using religion. You don't do that. A country, some humans were killed on the process of that flood. Some humans, there were some casualties. There were some victims of the flood. Instead of some despicable Nigerians, despicable Africans to sympathize, to commiserate with these people that had some mishaps, some flood mishaps. You went to your commentary sections to spill conundrum, to speak shenanigans, because you feel as a purported religious person you are special. Nothing makes anyone special. We are all human beings. We are the same, irrespective of your philosophy of life. We are all the same. We are very important. You have to respect people. There should be mutual respect. There should be tolerance. You don't have to rejoice over the tribulation of others. That makes you psychologically unstable. That makes you a lunatic, a walking lunatic. So I must have to sound this harsh, because it baffles me that some persons have grown to the extent of, rejoicing over people's tribulations in the name of having a divergent religious view. Yes, misfortune, mishap is inevitable. Everyone must have it from time to time. Yes, it is. Everyone is liable to any of these mishap. So you must not, at any point in time, mock anybody for experiencing a natural disaster that can happen to anybody as a result of industrial revolution. The human environment, the human society is prone to natural disaster. There may be climate change. There may be natural disaster from time to time, earthquake, flood, volcanic eruption, and these are caused by various industrial revolution. There is always a two side of a coin. There is always a two edge in a knife. There's always, in fact, every cloud has a silver lining. Development, industrial revolution comes with a lot of disaster. So we should not always attribute some of these disasters to superstition. All right, so let's go to another important news that we are up to analyze. Another important news that LASMA, for the fear of LASMA, Lagos State Traffic Agency, there have been a collusion. There have been a collusion that led to the death of 2 street cleaners. In order to avoid being apprehended by LASMA, a reckless driver has been able to. Yes, I want you to play that. I've been able to kill 2 street cleaners in Lagos Street. It's so pathetic. It's so pathetic that people have to be without conscience. Though the security agencies, all these agencies in Nigeria, are prone to do some shenanigans, but instead of you can actually stop and give them a little cash if that is what they want, instead of recklessly killing 2 innocent people. Because of your recklessness, 2 innocent women that are working, 2 innocent cleaners that are working to fend for their families, because of your recklessness, you've caused their early death. And the common Nigerians, the average Nigerians who is superstitiously driven, we blame it on superstition and village people. In fact, let me put on my eyeglass again to see, so that I will be able to see the level of low mentality in Africa. The level of low mentality in Africa. All right. All right. That is it for that. All right. Let's have a let's have a recap. Let's have a recap. Let's have a recap. Let's have a news recap on the headlines for today. Let's have a news recap for the headlines for today. All right. All right. All right. Let's go on a news recap. A court finds Nigerian police 200 million over illegal detention of woman who sued Inspector General of Police. Orders return of 15 million extorted from her. Shameful that violation of fundamental human rights have become the tradition of the Nigerian police. All right, Nigerian Labour Congress trade union declares nationwide strike over assault on their president, Mr. Ajero. That is coming from Sahara Reporters. Another news has it. Go to the next headline. Senate considers allowing Nigerians living in diaspora to vote during general elections. All right, this is coming from Sahara Reporters. Over to the next headline. Nigerian Secret Police DSS used Saturday's governorship election as flimsy excuse to prevent visitors from seeing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the leader of this group, IPOB, seeking self-determination for the old eastern region of Nigeria, comprising the southeastern Nigeria and the coastal region of Nigeria, coastal areas of Nigeria. All right, Telcom giant MTN to exit Liberia, 2 other African countries over dwindling revenue. Is also from Sahara Reporters. Sahara Reporters, I love your news because you are always up and doing. You are always reporting the fact to a reasonable extent. I know that due to press censorship in Nigeria, in the world, it's always difficult for you to report everything to avoid being targeted. But to some extent, I appreciate Sahara Reporters. All right, over to the next news. 3 persons shot in their head, confirmed death in Ogun State court clash. Nigerian police arrest 3 suspects. When courtesim, pause here a bit, let us analyze this a bit before I delve into other analysis. When courtesim started in Nigeria, pause. I want you to go back to that court clash. Go back to that court clash and pause there. All right, good. When courtesim started in Nigeria, the persons of Professor Wole Soyinka, a Nobel laureate and the patron of humanism in Nigeria, they started it to fight against colonialism. That is the pirate confraternity, the Sea Dogs. They founded it to fight against colonialism, the discrimination against black students. They founded it as a liberation movement. But now it has been turned into something else. A lot of cult groups have emanated, and the vision and mission of the early founders of courtesim have been distorted. Now people use courtesim as a means of thuggery, political thuggery, as a means of armed robbery, as a means of rape, as a means of encouraging despicable criminality like banditry, kidnapping, armed robbery, and a lot of unspeakable and a lot of heinous criminal acts, which was against the real mission and vision of why Nigerian court, the first Nigerian court, the Sea Dogs, the pirates confraternity, was built upon. That up to date, the people that the people that still uphold these Sea Dogs are still elites. There are so many lawyers in the group. Even Wole Soyinka is still a proud member. But however, despicably enough, the vision and mission of these cult groups have been distorted, and criminality is now the order of the day among some cult groups that erupted after the first cult groups after the first cult group was founded. You can imagine how pathetic, how things have fallen apart greatly in our beloved country, in our beloved Africa. All right, let's go over to the next on the headline recaps, on the newspaper headline recap. All right, driver fleeing from Lagos Traffic Management Agency last month kills 2 street cleaners. Pathetic enough. Pathetic enough. What stops you from allowing LASMA to do their lawful assignment, to do their lawful duty? Even if I know, like I said earlier, that some of these agencies are known for distortion. Even if they want to distort from you, give them money. Look at how your recklessness has caused the life of these people. And oftentimes, yes, oftentimes people attribute accident to whatever superstition, to whatever manipulation, spiritual or whatever manipulation. Is far from it. And that is why we are not holding our leaders responsible for maladministration. Because I think the causes of road accidents, as far as I'm concerned, is bad roads, reckless and careless driving. Oh yes, some persons that are not vast, some persons that are not knowledgeable in the art of driving will go into driving, and you think there won't be a series of road accidents. Instead of us tackling some of these issues, traffic-related issues, people have waived it. People have attributed some of these stuff to superstition. Oh yes, because you cannot, for instance, how can a person who is not knowledgeable in the practice of law practice law effectively? That is the same way a person who is not knowledgeable in the in aspect of driving or road usage is prone to have some accidents. So stop blaming it on superstition and take responsibility for your actions, for your carelessness, for your recklessness. Most of the accident is not even unexpected. You know, actually, accident can be defined as unexpected occurrence, but I can see that over here in Nigeria, accident is not unexpected occurrence as it used to be. Accident is expected occurrence, though we are deceiving ourselves. When you are driving drunk, do you expect not to have accident? When you are over speeding, bypassing the actual speed limit, will you tell me you do not expect accident? Just that in Africa, we are not sincere to ourselves. Human beings are not sincere to ourselves. We always use religion as a shield to justify our errors, to justify our stupidity. Let me put it up that way. To justify our shenanigans, we look for an excuse. This is what is called defense mechanism in psychology. Defense mechanism for your action, for your reasonable act. You look for something to attribute blames on. Stop reckless driving. Stop drinking. Stop being a pathetic drunkard. If you know that you will use the road, be sober. Don't drink. Mind the traffic rules to avoid accident and looking for people to attribute your mishap. I won't call it mishap. You look for people to blame for your errors. Or you look for one old woman in the village that is struggling, and struggle has made to be, to be dirty. You look for such old woman to blame for your misfortune. This is pathetic how people think. Instead of helping those women that suffering has caused to have some levels of dementia. There is a medical illness that is associated with old age and suffering called dementia. Make your research and stop blaming innocent people. All right, that is for that. I just have to educate people to say no to reckless driving. Look at how your reckless driving has caused the life of innocent street cleaners just hustling to take care of their families. Who will take care of their family now? Now that Your recklessness have caused their death. All right, over to the next one. Let me laugh. Let me laugh before I comment again. I do this recap. Nigerian woman stabbed to death while while breaking fight at Crusade ground. This is coming from Star Reporters. Over to the next news. AU says around 100 civilians reportedly killed in Eritrea. AU says around 100 civilians reportedly killed in Burkina Faso village massacre. This is coming from CNN. All right, over to the next news. White House reveals that 3-year-old American child is among Hamas hostages. All right, White House reveals 3-year-old American child among Hamas hostages. This is so pathetic. Say no to war crimes. Say no to war crimes. Say no to crime against humanity. How can you go against 3-year-old babies, 3-year-old children? Can't you conflict without doing evil? Can't you conflict while still obeying some international humanitarian laws? Can't you conflict without breaching the Roman statutes of 1601? Can't you do that for me? Can't ICC and the international organization be proactive for once and stop hypocrisy? All right, over to the next news report. Nigeria's first female army general, Aderonke Kale, dies. Chief of Staff month. All right, over to the next news. Trump's 86-year-old sister found dead. This is coming from Daily Trust. All right, the last but not the least on our news recap is over to the next news is Iceland is bracing for a volcanic eruption after experiencing hundreds of earthquake. Let's go over to the studio. All right, my people, let me put on my glass and see the color of your problems. The color of our problems is too big. All right, the viewers, I need your comment on today's headlines. I need your comments. Drop your comments and let's know what you think about the headlines as we conclude the program. Thank you, Mr. Producer. Thank you for this. I remain your good brother, your good humanist advocate, Obasi Ikechukwu, reporting from Nigeria. Yes, I want your comment on this. Always visit Humanist TV Africa, where we shall be bringing to you news around the world, where we shall be bringing to you entertainment, where we shall be bringing to you poetry recital, where we shall be bringing to you documentaries and history. All right, this is the end of the program. Thank you. See you in the next edition. All right, see you in the next edition. And one love to all of you all. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you, Mr. Producer Brand. I'm always proud of you. One love from here. Thank you.